about 3 minutes. All right, so we'll go over the market, talk about what to expect in next week's short week. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 2nd, 2022. Qs initially gapping up, settling back down now, down 1.4%. So you can see here, let's get into a little bit of a more tighter view here. So we gapped up and then we moved up and into the resistance. So if you recall coming into today, I was saying if we gap down underneath the low of the hourly bar there, then that'll be easy. We'll just be all out bearish. Okay. If we gap up, a little bit tougher because we are going to be gapping up into resistance. How far are we going to go into that resistance? I thought maybe we have room to 304, maybe 305. And then we'll have to see kind of what it does from there. What kind of pivot will it be? So this morning we got the gap up instead. So, a lot of times I say it'll be easier if we do this or do that. And, sometimes it gives you the harder scenario. So what did we do this morning? We initially did get sold, and then we actually recovered and went back up. Looks like the high ended up being 303.75, so not quite to 304. And then we started to roll back over. So once we started to roll back over, we triggered the hourly sell setup. Okay, we've been talking about an hourly sell setup ever since we got the reversal last week. Okay, and said, well, once we get a sell setup, then we can actually talk about, okay, if the sell setup fails, we can actually turn bullish. Otherwise, there's really nothing here to work with to turn bullish. It's just bearish, all out bearish. And that's the way it's been really up until today. Now, today, look what happened. We set it in the pivot, and now we're all the way back at the lows. Okay, so we would have to go back over that 303.75 before we can really talk about being bullish. So as you might expect, given a day down 1.4% and we're near the lows from yesterday, and the daily is still down underneath the 20 MA, and hourly is still in a downtrend, and weekly is still in a downtrend, right? What should we expect? We should expect to remain bearish, right? Still looking lower. So that's going to be the plan for next week. We'll kind of update as we go, see where this hourly trend, how far it goes. We're retesting this support again that we highlighted. And the more that we test it without any significant bounce, really, the weaker that support is going to be. So overall, bearish going into next week, okay? We'll keep an eye on the hourly. If the daily is going to turn around, if the weekly is going to turn around, hourly will do it first. Okay, hourly will have to turn around first before we start to see the daily. Okay, so that's the plan for next week. All right, let's get into the plays for today. Really nice play from James on the drug, DRUG, right out of the gate here. Really nice base breakout here. Okay. Just nice little kind of opposing tails and then a breakout. Nice tight stop here, about a 12-cent stop on that, and went over 2 Rs. I think he took it all on the nice pop, basically high of the day. I did hold some, which ended up failing, so not as nice of a play for me, just based because of the way I managed it. But that is my management plan, and eventually kind of the back half did come in and take out the stop. So that was the drug, but nice gap, nice little play there. And then really the afternoon, I was waiting on this ADMA. I really like the daily. I really like the setup. You see the breakout on the daily, breakout on the intraday, and I thought this was going to be the one. So initially I tried playing it over this base, didn't really go, and so it came in and lost half a penny. And then again here, I tried to anticipate a little on the level 2, hoping that it would break, and it ended up not going, started coming in again, so it lost actually a full penny on this time. So, and I did have an order for it as well to play it over the over the entry. So if it actually triggered over 85, I was going to play this as a breakout. So technically the play didn't trigger, but I was kind of trying to anticipate because I just liked it that much. And so, if you're going to anticipate, and this goes for plays, whether they're level 2 or chart plays, sometimes we'll run into a situation where something it looks good, like it's going to break down, but maybe on the breakdown, we're worried that we're not going to get filled at a good price. Okay. And you want to try to get in early before it breaks because you're afraid you might get skipped. Sometimes even you can get skipped on the plays to the upside. I've definitely had that happen where, the initial breakout bar is so big that it doesn't even fill you or fills you partial. If you're going to do that, if you're going to get in early, you also have to be ready to get out early because the play didn't actually trigger, right? We know that there's resistance at the high of the day. That's why it backed off of it, right? That's why this nice run up, right? All this bullish buying couldn't get over 285. So we know there's resistance there. We know there's supply there. It's just something that I liked a lot, that I was willing to get it early. And at times level 2 looked good, although it turns out this wasn't a good level 2 stock. So, lost on something that didn't technically trigger can be okay. For the most part, you don't want to do it too much because then you're getting in plays that never really kind of initiated the entry. But just something to keep in mind, if you are going to get in early, you also have to get out early, okay? Because if the play didn't really trigger, then, and it doesn't start to work, then probably it's not going to trigger and it doesn't look good. Okay? And then the last thing, just the SLQT here. Not sure if you got involved. Just had some nice base breakdowns. This one we've been kind of watching all week. It's SLQT because it is very, very weak. Okay? And so this had some decent level 2s at time, some nice bases, some nice scalps. And that was kind of the end of the day there. Okay? All right. So reminder that Monday is a holiday, so you won't have a market wrap. All right. The market won't be open, but we'll pick things back up on Tuesday. All right. Have a good evening. Have a good long weekend, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.